So we're just days away from 2016 coming to an end, and that means it's time to talk about my favorite movies of the year. Before we start talking about my favorite movies of the year, there's a couple things we need to clarify. First off, I did not get to go see nearly as many movies as I wanted to go see this year. You can tell that based off of this incomplete list of movies that are probably great that I did not see this year. How do I live without you? So just with that out there, I'm limited in what I'm able to put on this list. With that said, this is my list of favorite movies. Movies I'm most likely to watch. Rewatchability or just emotional impact are the things that are determining your appearance on this list. There are much better movies that I've seen this year than some of the movies on this list. The problem is not the quality of certain movies as they're not being present. It's I have not seen them, or it's just not a movie I see myself seeing again and again, or it just didn't stir the emotions within me. This is purely subjective, but because my worldview dictates that my opinion is the correct opinion about everything, this list is technically objectively correct based off of my very limited worldview that is shared only by me and my mother. With that said, let's get started. At number 10 is Hell or High Water. So I actually only watched this last night, so I haven't had time to marinate in it, soak, reflect on it, but just such a cool movie. Just so excited to see Chris Pine get a real great time to show his acting skill. Not just the charismatic leading man, not just the action star, the comedy guy, but actually lead a serious drama with world-class actors all around him and just show that he's playing the same game as them. He's not just the charismatic lead, he's got great talent. But beyond that, it's just a very fascinating drama that feels just so real and down to earth, partially because it's supposed to take place in Texas, and I live all around cities just like the one kind of shown in the movie. And I looked it up, and it was filmed in a city in New Mexico. Parts of it were filmed in a city in New Mexico called Clovis, which I've been to many times, which I was like, oh, that's why this looks so familiar. Clovis, not a fun city to visit, but I've driven through it many, many times and stopped to eat there many times. But so all in all, just very interesting character study of two people drawn to a desperate situation and the police officer trying to track them down and what that kind of looks like. Very cool movie. Coming in at number 9, on a totally different end of the spectrum, we've got Deadpool. This movie, as is well established, was kind of one of the big surprises of 2016. He's not an A-list comic book star. The general public didn't know who he was. Ryan Reynolds didn't have the best track record with comic book movies up to this point in time in human history. And then the marketing campaign just seemed like this is going to be a really good movie, a really special movie. And the movie comes out, just destroys box office records and expectations, does great at the box office. People loved it. And I was in that same ballpark. Really enjoyed the experience. It's not the type of movie I'm likely to watch over and over and over again or recommend to most people simply because of Ryan Reynolds fighting naked with Mr. Happy swinging around. That's a little bit of an awkward movie to recommend to most people that I know. Likewise, pretty much the whole movie is wildly inappropriate to them. That's kind of what makes it so fun and enjoyable, especially as a comic book movie, and also what makes it kind of difficult to recommend. But at the end of the day, this movie delivered on what it promised, so it's number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 8 is Star Trek Beyond, the continuation of the J.J. Abrams rebooted one with Justin Lin. The guy coming off of Fast and the Furious movies comes in to inject even more turbo energy into Star Trek. And interesting enough, it's the most like the original series of the new movies. Now, this still has way more in common with J.J. Abrams' Trek than original Star Trek, but it's definitely, they go off to a planet, they have an adventure on a planet, each of the crew members gets a chance to shine, there's exploration of certain types of ideas, so it felt more Star Trek-y than J.J. Abrams and Star Trek movies. So, very fun time. I wish this one was higher on my list. It really lacked a certain wow factor to me. The J.J. Abrams ones, while not very Star Trek-y, they were such a turbo-injected thrill ride, roller coaster of movies that they just kind of wowed me in that first experience. This movie, on the other hand, it was just kind of like, oh man, that was another good one. That's kind of the way I felt leaving the movie. That's another good one. Not a bad review, not a terrible thing to say, but also not the most sparkling of reviews for the movie. So it's only number 8, which then, once again, that's still really good. Coming in at number 7 is Doctor Strange, a movie that when they announced it, I was like, okay, I mean, I'll probably enjoy it because it's a Marvel movie. They tend to make enjoyable movies, but Doctor Strange, really, isn't that getting a little bit too weird? When are they going to cross that line that they've gone too far and the weirdness has been cranked too high that this isn't going to work? Well, apparently that day has not happened yet because Doctor Strange was yet another fun, exciting, solid Marvel movie where they took a weird commodity, weird original property, and turned it into a blockbuster with broad mainstream appeal. They've nailed this formula. And really that's the big complaint about the movie, is it very much follows the Marvel formula of the origin story. The main villain really is kind of sprinkled in at the beginning, and then his story really takes off about an hour into the movie, and then we have this big, gigantic, sparkly third act. Humor sprinkled across the whole deal, superfluous female character to fill in relational checklists, as well as character development checklist, and then boom, you've got an enjoyable movie. And it's an enjoyable movie with really cool special effects, really cool visuals that kind of put all the Harry Potter magic to shame. But it's got its faults in that it is pretty formulaic. Coming in at number 6 on my list is The Magnificent Seven. This is a movie that I was very excited about because it's not pretentious at all. It's not Oscar bait. It's not trying to be the greatest Western of all time. It's just trying to give us a good, fun Western that's true to original Westerns and true to 21st century sensibilities. And that's what they gave me. I was thrilled with this movie. I have no real complaints about it at all. Just a great, fun time at the movies. And the only reason it's not really higher on the list is that it's not aiming to be. It doesn't need to be. It's just a movie that wanted to be good at what it was trying to do, and it did that. It's a fun Western with great characters, great action, maybe the most Western carnage I've ever seen in a movie. So, very fun time at the movies for me. Coming in at number 5... Batman v Superman. So, once again, this is my totally subjective list. This is just based off of what movies I think I'm going to watch again, have rewatched many times, that I got personal enjoyment out of. All of my criticisms of the movie, I'm ignoring all of them. This is just purely in the same way that I can watch fail videos for an hour straight or 2 hours straight. I can watch Batman v Superman and get some level of kind of enjoyment out of it. Though if you tell me it sucks, I'll go, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I mean, the script's a mess. Yeah, it's a bunch of stories crammed together. Yeah, there's too many characters. Yeah, they screwed up Superman. Yeah, they screwed up Batman. Yeah, they screwed up Lex Luthor. Yeah, they screwed up Doomsday. Yeah, they botched. And we could just go down the list, and I would not defend it. I would not try and argue with you. You would be correct. It just doesn't matter to me. I liked it. I mean, I just enjoyed watching this movie. Faults and all, stupidity, no defense on my end. I will agree with you on everything you're saying. Just at the end of the day, the things that I enjoyed, and I can take this particular mess. We've all got our bad taste at different times. Here's one of mine. Coming in at number 4 on my list is The Accountant. This is actually the movie I rated the highest this year. Of all the movies I actually did a review of on my channel, this is the one that was the highest rated, which is kind of interesting the way that worked out. But with that said, this movie was just so much fun to me because it was an original story with great, interesting characters with a twist we hadn't seen before, where the lead character is on the autism spectrum, and they handle it in such a great way where it seems, movie realistic. Not just realistic, but movie realistic. It feels like actual person that's on the spectrum that has a certain charm to him that's enjoyable, but you can have these adventures with him and great relationship and chemistry with the Anna Kendrick character that I wasn't sure how that was going to work or what that was going to look like. And just this movie was such a fun time for me at the movies. Maybe one too many plot twists in the last 10, 15 minutes of the movie. But really, that's my only complaint. And that's to say that they were trying to be clever. They were trying to aim to do something interesting that sparked your mind. And I can only fault you so much for that. Very solid movie. Coming in at number 3 is Bloodfather. Bloodfather, the return of Mel Gibson to being awesome. It was like had the 1-2 punch of Bloodfather in that movie I haven't seen, Hacksaw Ridge. I'll just assume that that's him returning to great director status. But, I mean, this movie was so good to me in that, I mean, I had no expectations, I didn't know it was coming out, so I couldn't anticipate it or have expectations. And then I heard wonderful things about it, watched it as soon as it came on video on demand, and just loved it. I mean, just incredible performance from Mel Gibson that was terrifying and fun and funny and just heartfelt in a very simple, direct, straightforward story, but still a very engaging story that just hold you in and held you there. It's not an action movie. You're going in thinking this is Taken with Mel Gibson. I don't think it's that at all. It's a action thriller, emphasis on thriller, emphasis on drama. Action comes third in the list there, but wonderful showcase for Mel Gibson's abilities as an actor and just a good story. Simple, direct story, but a good, solid story. So a movie I highly recommend you check out if you haven't checked it out. Coming in at number 2 was my number 1 most anticipated movie of the year, and that is Rogue One. And this movie's probably got a lot more faults than a lot of the movies on this list, it's a Star Wars movie, and the Star Wars cheat card kind of works on me. And so I just really enjoyed this movie. In particular, that third act, that final 2-3 minutes are just so powerful. They work so well for me. They tie so nicely in with other stories with this guy over here. They give some great moments to this guy over here that it's just kind of my favorite moments in movies this year, or probably in this movie right here. Just so powerful, so emotional. Now, the first 2 acts have got some big problems. You can feel the reshoots all over it. When it comes to like Saw Gerrera, the Forrest Whitaker character in this, I feel like they had a writer's room meeting where they sat down and like, what's every weird thing that we could do with him? He's paranoid. He's kind of crazy. He's got a respirator on his chest. He's got weird bug things. He talks poetically. He's missing limbs. He's got a funny voice. And you just go down this list, and they just took all of it and went with it. Like, what ideas did they shoot down for Saw Gerrera if all of these guys' ideas made it into the movie? Just something I'm a little bit interested in knowing. But overall, just very enjoyable film. The solid moments in it make up for all of the bad moments in it. I lost a tooth right there, mid-filming. I'm not going to cut that. I'm going to leave me pulling a tooth out of my mouth in this video. But all around solid film. Second favorite movie experience of the year. Coming in at number 1, I'm going to go with Captain America Civil War. When I just go down the list of personal enjoyment, quality of filmmaking, it's just an overall satisfying experience that didn't leave me going, yeah. Captain America Civil War just kind of has to take the cake on this one, in that it had set the bar really high with Winter Soldier, the previous Avengers movies. The bar was up here, and it lived up to it. It lived up to the expectations. Rogue One, not quite up to the expectations. Batman v Superman, way not up to the expectations. It set the bar high, and it hit it. Like, I didn't leave it all with any sense of like, oh, really? Oh, man. Oh, the first 2 acts, or this was a big jumbled mess. It wasn't anything like that. It was just a movie that I went, oh, wow, that's great storytelling. If you're going to do superhero movies, do it like that. You have a movie where you have 2 competing ideologies. You've got the Zemo that's the main bad guy, but you've got 2, the more interesting one of Tony and Captain. You understand both of their perspectives. You understand where both of them are coming from. Both of them are right and both of them are wrong. And they each make mistakes along the way, and they're each kind of right at different ways and at different times. That's good tension, that is good drama, and that's what's at the core of this movie. Some people have criticized it for being toothless and not having enough stakes, and I think it's a mildly fair criticism to say that someone should have died, something more should have happened, but also that's not the story they were telling. It would have been out of place if Captain America got so mad at Tony that, he broke War Machine's neck. That would be out of character. It would be getting too dark for the conflict that's going on. This is a group of friends that are mad at each other, and that's what we got in these battles. And if you had the full length of all the comic books to be able to draw it out like the Civil War comic book, perhaps you could have Captain America actually die at the end of this or something like that. But for the movie they made, for the story they actually told, not our fantasies of where they could have gone, what we would have wanted, these were the right stakes, and they went as far as it was appropriate to go in this story for this movie. And all in all, that's why this was my favorite movie of the year. I actually rewatched it a couple days ago because it's on Netflix now, which is awesome that it would make it to Netflix this quick. But anyway, that's my list of the favorite movies of the year. How about you? What are your favorite movies of the year? Not objectively the best, not of your alignment with the critics, your top ratings, your favorites. Just take all objectivity and throw it out the window. Let's just talk about what we like, because I'm not very good at being objective. If you look at my video where I rated movies, and I'm terrible at this, rating movies, and I don't even go see most of the good movies. So what are your favorites? Because that's the conversation I can actually successfully have with you. I don't want to just talk about my favorites. I want to talk about your favorites. Let's have a great discussion down below and recommend, of those movies I haven't seen, which ones do I need to go see right now as soon as possible. If you're new to my channel and you've never clicked that subscribe button, normally I don't lose teeth mid-video, and so you got to be here for a special first-time video experience, and as a reward, I will let you click that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed to my channel and my videos aren't showing up in your feed, YouTube does some weird stuff from time to time. Try clicking that bell next to the subscribe button and see if you can adjust the settings and it'll show up in your feed more often. And as always, thank you for watching, and as never before, I'm going to end this video by putting a tooth back in. Much better.